So we've maybe got some goals and we've been thinking about them throughout December, and we're like, yeah, in January I'm going to really start working on this. I've got this big goal I'm going to hit, and January the 1st I'm going to start working towards it. And as soon as January comes, we're suddenly faced with having to do something about it, right? We have suddenly this mountain that we've kind of been thinking about climbing for a while. It's suddenly there in front of us, and we're expected to take that first step. Yeah, I know. Like, I'm aware that I probably look a bit ridiculous kind of with this blanket, but it's really cold and it's super cozy. So welcome back to the channel. I do feel so ridiculous with this. Anyway, never mind. I'm going to be talking about the January slump today. Why you might actually be feeling a bit demotivated right now, a bit down, and yeah, just a bit of the January blues. Now, I've been feeling this at the start of the month, so I thought I'd make a video on it because I have learned some very useful things around how to kind of get through it, and also some really easy steps you can take to make yourself just feel better this month, because we put a lot of expectation on the start of the year, and this is kind of part of the problem. So we're going to talk about why we feel the way we do, because it's really important to understand why we're feeling the way we're feeling, because then we can understand it and unpick it a lot easier. And then we're going to be talking about some strategies for how to feel better. So I want to start with just telling you about kind of my experiences this year, because I really experienced this huge big January slump that I wasn't expecting and I didn't really understand, and I learned a lot from it. So I was really excited to start working on my goals, literally hit the ground running on New Year's Day. I was absolutely, I've got some really big goals for this year. I was really excited to start working on them, start making things happen. And I gotta say, I just felt totally flat. I felt a bit flat on New Year's Day, and I thought, well, I'm a bit tired. It was a late night. I was like hungover, and then the day after New Year's Day, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be the day, 2nd of Jan. It's gonna be so good. We're gonna get up early. We're gonna absolutely smash it. And I just, again, felt so flat, so demotivated. Didn't feel like doing anything. So I kind of pottered around, took the Christmas tree down, and all that sort of stuff. And I thought, oh, why am I feeling like this? And then we got back to work on the 3rd. I know you lucky people in Scotland get an extra day off. And again, after work, just felt like I did a few things, but I just felt like this real kind of flatness, like real demotivation. I thought, what is going on? Anyway, then I get this little sickness bug, and so that really put the kibosh on stuff. And so by the end of the week, this plan that I'd written out for myself had to go completely out the window. So I felt overwhelmed with all the stuff that I had to do, which I hadn't got done. Really flat about stuff still, and I was like, where is my energy gone? I don't understand what's going on here. And yeah, just pretty terrible. That's not the way I want to start this month. So, and I know this affects a lot of us, call it the January blues or the January slump, or however we want to call it. It's just this sort of feeling of, you walk into this new year with all these exciting goals and plans and ready to get going, and it's like, well, why am I not more excited? Why am I not more motivated? And why am I not doing stuff? Why am I still dragging myself out of bed? And why am I not leaping up when my alarm goes off? Like, what is going on? So just thinking about this and some research into kind of what is going on at the start of January to make us feel so flat. And the first thing we have to bear in mind is the fact that we have a bit of the Christmas come down. So we have all of this build up throughout October, November and December to Christmas, all the excitement and all of the expectation on how Christmas is going to be. Then we have this bizarre kind of Twixmas period where all the routines have been thrown out the window. Everything that we normally cling to, even the 6 o'clock news isn't on when it's supposed to be, and all those weird things are part of our routines that have just been completely thrown out. So whether we're working or whether we're not working, we kind of have this bizarre bit in between. And then this build up to New Year's, and the excitement of New Year's Eve, and the parties and all of that. And then we have this kind of moment of kind of come down when all of that is over, and we face the kind of part of it is facing the reality of the new year. We have a fresh start, which we have loads of expectations around. And then we also have this, we have the miserable weather, and that really doesn't help, and the dark nights. But more importantly, we have all of this expectation that we write around the New Year's. So we've maybe got some goals and we've been thinking about them throughout December, and we're like, yeah, in January I'm going to really start working on this. I've got this big, big goal I'm going to hit, and January the 1st I'm going to start working towards it. And as soon as January comes, we're suddenly faced with having to do something about it, right? We have suddenly this mountain that we've kind of been thinking about climbing for a while. It's suddenly there in front of us, and we're expected to take that first step. So one of the first things that happens to us is just overwhelm. It's the weight of the new big goal that kind of feels overwhelming, that we maybe don't feel prepared for, that we're finally having to make moves on, and it's like the day has finally come and I have to be the sort of person who does X and takes action on this goal, and that's actually quite overwhelming. So we do nothing, and then we start to feel bad about ourselves because we haven't done anything, and we start to feel like, well, it's just the same old me, isn't it? Still snoozing through the alarm, still watching 3 hours of Netflix a night rather than reading a book or whatever it is. And we just feel quite depressed about that. Like we start to beat ourselves up and feel quite sad about it. The second thing is that we have a sense that we should feel rested and we should feel energized and ready, and sometimes we don't. And that is because for a lot of us, Christmas, although we say, Christmas holidays, for so many of us it ends up not being a holiday. Either we're hosting people and we have time off and we're running around looking after everyone, we're visiting 10 different people within a week, and we're driving all over the country to visit different family members, or maybe you've been working throughout the Christmas and New Year period, and it kind of feels like, yeah, I've maybe had a bit of time off, and it's all been quite busy, and you just kind of get that sense of starting the new year not necessarily feeling rested and recharged, which is, I think, how we expect to feel. We expect to feel like this. The start of January is going to be this amazing time. We feel really energized, and often we're not, because we actually haven't had the time to rest and recharge. So what can be done? What can we do about these feelings? And what did I do to make myself feel better, to make myself feel more motivated? I can sit with you right now and actually record this video and not kind of procrastinate about it for absolutely ages. So the first thing we need to do is to recognize how we're feeling and to understand the root cause of how we're feeling as well. So we've got all of these things, different things going on, as I've mentioned, that are generally kind of affecting our mood. But there can also be other things kind of going on below the surface, specific to what we want to achieve, specific to where we're at, which can make us feel quite demotivated going into the new year. And to give you my kind of personal example, this kind of came up for me during doing some journaling. So I sat down and I wrote, why do I feel so demotivated and flat right now? And I was really, really surprised at what came up. So for me, 2 of my bestest friends are leaving and moving away imminently, very soon. And I've known about this for a while. I have come to terms with it. I understand where they're going. I'm really excited for them. I think it's great. Obviously sad for myself because I'm really going to miss them. And I know it's going to mean my life changes, not having them around as much. But another kind of feeling came up for me, which I was quite surprised about. And had I not spent a bit of time writing this down, having a bit of a chat with myself, I wouldn't have understood that. And that was a sense of almost like a little bit of jealousy, because there they both are going off, buying new places and starting a big new adventure. And I kind of got this sense of like, I kind of want to have a big adventure. Like, I'd quite like a new place too. Like, and that sort of sense of, well, have I set the right goals? Am I on the right path? Like, oh, like, wouldn't it be simpler if I had done this? And having people around you who are moving in different directions, and I think that, making either big job changes or buying new places or settling down, maybe having families or starting new relationships, and any kind of big life move that happens to anyone around us. And I used to find in my 20s, it would happen to me more when I'd see people getting like new jobs and everything. Oh, I don't want a new job. But it does make us question and compare. And I hadn't really realised that I was sort of feeling a bit like, I kind of feel a bit flat about my goals, and have I set the right ones? And actually sitting down and writing this down, I was like, but I wouldn't want that for myself. Like, I'm excited for them and I think that's a really good move, but for myself, I wouldn't want that. So why am I feeling like this? It kind of gave me an opportunity to reflect on the things that I had achieved and to remember why I was going down the path that I've chosen and why I've set the goals that I've chosen and why I haven't done similar things. Had I not actually spent some time, as I say, having a chat with myself and writing it down, this thing would have been stuck in the back of my head and I wouldn't have dealt with it. Often these things feel big and scary when they're up here and we don't even notice that they're there, and then we write them down and we see them for what they are and it's like, oh, but I'm not actually bothered. So why am I feeling so flat? Ah, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This is why journaling is such a powerful tool, and which is why I always recommend it, because getting it down on paper, it frees you. It's so freeing, it's amazing, and it's just something that you can't do by just sitting and stressing about something. So spending a bit of time just on a piece of paper saying, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling demotivated? What might come up for you are things that are completely different. You might actually find that you write about the goal that you want to work on and you think, oh, actually, I feel really overwhelmed by this goal. I feel really scared by it. I'm really worried that what happens if I succeed? Like, what's it going to mean for me? Different things are going to come up, but just taking some time to understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling is really important. It's really lovely that as I'm filming this, the sun is actually coming out, which I feel is like, yeah, it's a sign that we're on the right path here. Okay, so step number 2 is to understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And you're doing that right now by watching this video and basically understanding the science. Because once we understand what's going on up here, we can then start to disattach that from thinking that it's anything wrong with you. So you're not feeling demotivated right now because you are lazy or useless or you're never going to hit your goals. You're feeling that because of some other reasons that we've talked about, and it's nothing to do with your capacity or your ability to reach those goals that you've set for yourself or to achieve all the things that you want to do. By understanding our psychology a little bit, it's another thing that's really freeing, and it's going to help us to move forward and also just check in with ourselves. Like I just said in the last tip, why am I feeling this way? Ah, okay, I understand that now. And it's not because I'm lazy, it's not because I'm useless. It's, just something that's going on up here, and it's totally normal. You're not special in this way. We're all feeling it and we're all affected by it. Tip number 3 is to do some small things and small actions and behaviors. If you watch my 12 Days of Christmas series, you will have heard me talk about a lot the ideas around consistent action and just doing little things each day. The hardest thing often is just starting or doing the first thing or taking the first step. Like when you first have to get out of bed in the morning, it always feels the worst, and then you're up and you're like, oh well, okay, it's not so bad. Or when you first have to turn off the TV or hit pause on Netflix because you want to stop what you're doing right now and go and do something that is more productive related to your goals. Starting is the hardest thing. So once we do something small, and if you set yourself a small task, just one small thing a day, then completing that is going to give you it's going to give you a little dopamine hit. You're going to feel better and you're going to start to feel a bit more motivated to do a little bit more. But by starting small and just setting your expectation really, really low, that means you can meet it. You can meet it, you can do something, and then you'll start to feel better about yourself. Tip number 4 is gratitude. And gratitude is the quickest way to feel good. And having gratitude for everything you have in your life right now, and also, but more importantly right now, the things you feel grateful for about yourself, your attributes, the things that you've achieved, the things that you love about yourself, whether it's the fact that you're clever or funny or smart or brilliant, brave, courageous, whether you can crack some good jokes or whatever it is, start to list out the things that you feel really grateful for about yourself. At this point, if you're feeling demotivated, then building some really positive momentum and some positive self-love is going to make you feel so much better in the moment, but it's also going to help to just motivate you more in the long term as well, and to know that you absolutely have what it takes to achieve any goal that you set yourself. There's one lesson that I've taken away from 2022, which I will go into in more detail in another video, I think, is persistence. You can achieve anything with enough persistence, and you have everything you need right now within you to achieve any goal that you've written down or set for 2023. So I believe in you already, so you better do as well. So I hope you're starting to feel a little bit better, and at the very least you're starting to understand why you might be feeling the way you're feeling and why you might have a case of a bit of January slump and feeling a bit demotivated. It happens to everybody, and I mean, you might perceive me as someone who's super motivated all of the time, but it's happened to me this month, and for reasons that I was not expecting. But taking some time to understand ourselves, the way that we're feeling, the way we're feeling, to connect with ourselves, to connect with our emotions, is the first step in being able to sort of really help and then move forward. It sounds an odd thing to say as well, but lowering our expectations in this case can be helpful. Not expecting ourselves to be this whole new person at the start of the year, and actually be gentle, taking the time to make those changes slowly, take those small steps this month. It doesn't matter if January isn't the month you achieve all of your goals or make giant leaps forward. Small progress is better than no progress at all, and if you actually just need to take this month to properly rest after a really busy festive period, then do that, and use February as the start of the year. Use February as your new fresh start. There's no rule that says that you have to have it all kind of figured out at the start of the calendar year and need to become somebody completely different either. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. Give me a little thumbs up if you have liked it, and also make sure you hit subscribe if you are new to the channel. We post lots of videos kind of hopefully to inspire you to help you to achieve your goals over here, and I share lots of behind the scenes planning and running the business. So yeah, lots going on over on this channel, and I will see you all again very, very soon.